A circle full of dogs. We put in work. Let's go in there with a bunch of crazy dogs.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Rush Hour. I'm your host, Chris Rosa, alongside with Michael the Truth Stewart. Michael, what's happening? How are you?
Listen, it's getting glim, whatever word you want to use for the Giants right now. Disappointing loss. Even though they looked pretty good the first quarter, right? Played pretty well.
They did in the first few minutes. They did, and we're going to turn the page. We're not even going to talk about it.
Don't talk about it.
I've been beaten up enough. Hey, Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights. Thanks for checking us out tonight. Always appreciate you stopping in. So, Michael, the 2-5 Giants travel to Pittsburgh, 5-2. The 5-2 Steelers. Did you happen to catch the Jets Steeler game on Sunday night?
I did. I watched more of the near the end where Russell Wilson started heating up and playing much better than he did earlier on in the game. Jets secondary, understand that they had like a few injuries, so they were playing a lot of their backups. Mm-hmm. So that's you want to look at that. That's a big thing for the Giants. You know how the Giants secondary is. You know that could be an issue.
Yeah, and you look at guys like Joey Porter Jr., this undrafted guy, Bishop. I mean, it's, Mike Tomlin is he's unbelievable. I mean, 17 years he's been the head coach, right? Is that what we're going on?
Yeah.
So not
one losing season, right?
No, and I heard somebody else say this week, and it's so true. The Pittsburgh culture and persona of that team never changes. Hard defense, hit you in the mouth. They run to the ball. There's no on defense anyway. There's no dog in it. They just love to be in the middle of chaos, and they just always seem that they're for years their defense has always come to play. And you saw that on Monday night, or Sunday night, especially against the running game against the Jets, right? I mean, They're ranked third. We're gonna go over this, but ranked third in the league, and man, you're going up a real tough run defense.
And the Jets. I mean, I haven't looked, but to me, they got a much more scary running attack than the Giants do.
Yeah, they do. I think you saw Najee Harris go over 100 yards, right? He was about 100 and.
Yeah, he's running hard right now. He's running very hard.
Yeah, and there you see the Jets with couldn't even muster like 50, 60 yards on the ground, but yet you see Breece Hall out of the backfield leading them in receptions or yards with I think about 103 yards, which. We'll get into it, Mike, but it makes you wonder if maybe that's going to be part of the Giants' game plan is to have Tyrone Tracy a little bit involved in the passing game, especially on the screens, former receiver going out on more pass routes, because that seemed to be working a little bit with the Jets with hitting Breece Hall out of the backfield.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's something that they should do with him anyway, regardless of who we're playing. Kid, like you said, is a former wide receiver. Utilize him.
Yeah, absolutely. But so, Mike, a few notes before we get into some of the heavy lifting here. So, Giants didn't practice today; they had off because of the Monday night game. So, you'll get the injury reports. Will come out tomorrow. Boogie Basham was released yesterday. He didn't get any snaps on Sunday, so I guess no surprise. It seemed like they were phasing him out little by little. Wasn't really getting on the field, right? So. I don't know much about this guy, Armon Watts. He's been in the league for about 6 years, former 6th-round pick of the Vikings. Andre Patterson probably has a relationship with him because he was with the Vikings a few years back when he was drafted in 2019, defensive tackle. So, more depth, I guess, or we'll see what kind of depth we have with him. But he was elevated from the practice squad. Interesting enough, former first-round pick, and you know this guy because you do all the college stuff, DJ Humphries, who was who came in for a visit yesterday, former first-round pick a few years ago. What's your feeling on DJ Humphries before his ACL? Any good? I mean, was he pretty decent? What was your thoughts on him as a tackle?
He was a pretty decent player. It's always tough when these guys hurt their lower body injuries
Yeah.
That's something you have to take note, and how long it's taking to recover from that. As you can see, a lot of guys who get them depends on position they play. For him, it's more of a lateral movement with him going side to side. So we'll see. But right now, the Giants are looking at any possible player that they can find that could help this team.
Yeah.
You know, and that's sad because that tells you a little bit that they're in a struggling mode.
Yeah.
You know,
and I still can't get over it, Mike. Last year we saw Joshua Zudu. Hey, what's up, Mark? Thanks for jumping in, Mark Thompson.
Hey, long time no see, Mark.
Yeah, welcome aboard. I know you were trying to catch one of the shows, but it's just, you want to trust Porcillo with the whole Zudu situation at left tackle, and we saw last year he's more of a guard than a tackle. But even when Porcillo announced last week, or not announced, but we heard that he was going to play left tackle, he was doing that in practice. You trusted Porcillo, but now you have doubts. I mean, Azudo, he calmed down later in the game, but boy, he didn't look comfortable at all at left tackle. And now you're hearing reports that they may actually still go with Azudu at left tackle, which I'm scratching my head. I don't want to move Illuminor because remember, you have TJ Watt on that side. So keep Illuminor there because TJ Watt's on the left side as the edge rusher. But I mean, are you scratching your head if you see Azudu run out Monday night again at left tackle?
Yeah. I look, I saw the PFF gave him a good grade, like an 80, but how valid is that?
The eye test doesn't do it, man.
Right. The eye test is totally different than what the PFF grade what it says, because he looks like he's much more comfortable inside. He does. Okay. Shout out to Harry, buddy of mine from South Carolina, Harry.
Wow, thanks for jumping in, Harry. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate that.
He may give some sarcastic comments. We'll see.
Okay. Won't be the first one. We'll take it. No worries. It's all good. Mike, when you look at the tackle position, I'm going to throw some names at, and then we'll get into, the game itself. But when you look at left tackle, would you rather, who do you want there? Let me throw the names at you. Obviously, Azudu, Chris Hubbard, who was just picked up from the Niners practice squad, a veteran who's played a bunch of. Let me just give you some stats, everybody, about Chris Hubbard. Chris Hubbard, 6'4", 295. He's played in over 100 games, started 58 games, played in 6 playoff games, played for the Steelers, Browns, and Titans. Comes with a lot of experience. And you know what? I'd plug him right in at left tackle if you're not going to go with Evan Neal. Forget Azudu.
So, I always said, look, I'm not there, and I don't know how much access you have to their training to watch it. I'm sure they've given Evan Neal snaps at left tackle, right? You would think, right?
It came out earlier yesterday that he's primarily been focusing on obviously guard because and also right tackle. They weren't playing him a lot at left tackle. And I think that's the reason why, or not the reason why. I don't know what the reason why is, but it's just odd to me that that's his natural position. So, why not put him back over there? Mark Thompson, he says, definitely don't want to move Illuminor. Agreed. You got TJ Watt over him. Keep Illuminor at right tackle, especially this particular game. Maybe next. What other choices do we have? Well, that's kind of what we're saying right now, Mark. It's really Azudu, Chris Hubbard. Don't want to move Illuminor.
I think it's going to be Azudu.
And that's it.
I think they're going to let him go and play there again and figure.
Evan Neal.
Well, why didn't they play Evan Neal at all?
That is the question. That's the $1 million question. And Mark Thompson, Hubbard's best days are behind him. Yeah, I get it, Mark. But the fact that he was added to the roster from the practice squad from the Niners shows you that at least they intend to play him at some point. He's not going to be on special teams.
If all goes totally horrible, then they're probably going to have him there.
Right. But Mike, the Evan Neal situation has become what Golladay was here. It's a mystery. We couldn't figure out why Gala didn't play. Was it because he wasn't putting the effort in? Was he not knowing the? Was he not fast enough in the routes that Dable wanted to call? We're finding the same thing out with Neal. There's no clarity. Everything is so foggy and gray with him. We're speculating: is it the ankle still? Is he not? Is it practice? He just doesn't look good. It's just amazing that there's no clarification on Neal. So.
Yeah.
And part of the reason is because the media is locked out of practices, right? They can't watch practices most of the time, so they really don't see what's going on.
Yeah. Well, look, I would have to say if I'm a betting man, they're going to go with Azudu, and then and hope that he does adequately well. I mean, that's what they're going to hope for. And maybe Neal is the next man up on that. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you. I think Azudo gets the first crack at it, but as soon as things go south, I think he's going to get pulled, and they'll make another, whether it's the Hubbard, the veteran, or maybe they do put Neal in there. But it's just mind-boggling that the 7th overall pick in the draft, and he can't even get on the field at left tackle, his natural position, this far into the season and post.
And you know what? You can't even. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the fans on Twitter. I don't want to hear them, because when that draft was in the process, leading up to it before the combine, boy, everybody was raving Evan Neal. Everybody was raving that and hoping that the Giants get him.
If you remember, Mike, it was him and Charles Cross. Those were the two guys
right.
a lot of everybody talked about, and he's worked out pretty well, I think, for Seattle.
Yeah, and when that draft night came, I remember we were on the air, and when we picked Neal, we had fans coming on. They were excited. They were. We finally got our right tackle, and I thought so too. I mean, who didn't? I think every football expert in the draft all thought it was a slam dunk that the Giants got Evan Neal.
Yeah. Mark Thompson.
Just can't predict it. That's just how it is.
It's right. This is funny. There is clarification on Neal. The fact is he isn't playing says it all. You're right. I guess you're right. But, he hasn't been in the game.
Reason.
Yeah. I mean, how bad is he practicing? He hasn't been in an actual game to get pulled and say, oh, my God, he's terrible. Let's pull him. He hasn't. We haven't even witnessed that, which tells you how bad is he in practice?
I know.
How bad does he look in practice?
You would think, I don't know this, guys, and I don't see their practice. You would think, knowing that Thomas is out, Evan Neal will be getting a lot of snaps at left tackle right now.
100%.
He did play left tackle this last 2 years at Alabama?
Yeah.
His last 2 years, right? He played left tackle. I know he did play right tackle early on. So
he played some guard too. I mean, he played.
And he played guard. Yeah, I think that was his rookie year. He played guard.
Okay.
Or it's not rookie year, his freshman year. So there's no mystery. Mm-hmm. He has played left tackle, so he's been there, So you would think maybe they don't think he's ready yet. They're trying to cram a lot down his throat in these next couple of weeks. Maybe he's a slow learner. I don't know.
God! I mean, that's pathetic. I mean, this is the same offense we've had for 3 years now. This is his third year with with the same system. He was drafted the first, Shane's first go around. It really is amazing. I just it's mind boggling. Is he that bad? But anyway, I guess let's just move on, right? We can go on all night with this.
Yeah.
We can have an Evan Neal show,
Oh my goodness.
We can have a Daniel Jones show, and we can have an Evan Neal show.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so Mike, let's get into some of the details with this game. You want to start off with some offensive player stats, or how do you?
We can do that. We'll start with.
Okay.
Let's start with the Giants offense player stats, and then you'll jump in with the overall team stats.
Okay.
We got again. We'll start with Daniel Jones. He's got 1,400, a little over 1,400 yards passing, and if you look at Daniel Jones, I just want to say there was a great novel called The Tale of Two Cities, and they made a movie out of it, and that's Daniel Jones. on the road and at home. He is two different quarterbacks. If you look at his road games, three of them, he has a passing rate of over 100. He has no interceptions, 6 touchdowns, and he's got a pretty competitive completion rating over 60%. He, some reason at home, he must press, tries too hard, and listen, it does get in your head. I could see that happen, and he's trying too much. But this is a road game, so you expect Daniel Jones, at least I do, to do much better than he has in his home games.
Yeah, and the last home game that I remember him really playing well, ironically, was against the Colts, the last game of the season in 2022, when they had to win that, or they was pretty much solidified a playoff spot. And that's when Bobby Okereke with the Colts gave him that shot when he came into, remember he was running to the corner.
Right.
Bobby Okereke gave him a shot. He took it right on. He played a very good game that day. That's the last home game I remember Daniel Jones actually playing well, other than a preseason game he played last year. Yeah.
And you know what's funny? In 2022, he played a lot of good home games against Baltimore. Remember that game? He
only loss, Mike, that Baltimore's had with Lamar Jackson to an NFC team, 23-1.
Who would have thought that?
Who would have thought? And it was
who would have thought?
The Giants are always setting records. A lot of bad ones, but there's a couple good ones, I guess, in there.
Man, if there was a line on that Vegas, somebody's a man there. They picked that one.
Hey, real quick, hey Jay, thanks for showing up, JF, Jay Farries, appreciate it. Yeah, I know the Inside. I didn't even know Insider had a show tonight because I was looking. They didn't post it. I know they do mostly like a Wednesday midweek show, but yeah, they're opposite of us. So we appreciate everybody stopping here. Obviously, you're missing their show. Go catch them on the when it gets replayed. So appreciate you all stopping by.
So moving on with the Giants offensively, you're going to have, again, we're going to see a tandem, a duo of Singletary and Tracy in the backfield. Haven't heard anything about Singletary being hurt or anything, so
no.
I think he's okay to go. And collectively, they're not a bad running back team together. They can both run the ball pretty well, and they both can catch the ball.
That's right.
You pointed that out earlier. That we could see that because we saw that the Jets had success at that with Breece Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. We could see Singletary and Tracy doing the same thing for the Giants.
Right. And that's what's interesting, Mike. You saw Breece Hall lead them in receptions last week out of the backfield with 103 yards. And really, you had 60 yards by Lazard and everybody else was by committee. So I almost feel like you're going to see a screen game. You're going to see you're going to see Tracy out of the backfield, utilize his pass catching skills, and that's what we're going to probably. I don't know. That's what I'm thinking because it worked for the Jets last week.
I think you're on the right track. I think you are. I mean, look, obviously, Breece Hall is a much talented player, much more talented than those guys, but those guys are adequate enough to move the chains for the Giants.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bill Harnett, thanks, man. Thanks for showing up tonight. I'll watch Jerry and Coast later. Yeah, man, we appreciate you. You're making time for us too. So we always appreciate that, Bill. You're everywhere, and we always catch you on all the other shows. So welcome aboard, as always.
Yep, and then of course the Giants receivers. You're going to have Nick Neighbors is leading the bunch, and he is their best wide receiver by far. And he just needs just keep looking for him. He'll get open. I saw that one thing on Twitter where he made a little comment about he was open a few times. I listen, when your team loses, there's frustration. These guys are all athletes. They've come from winning programs from college. They want to win. They want to win. It's not fun losing. It really isn't.
Yeah.
And you don't want to make it a habit where you accept it. That's when you have a problem. If these guys start accepting losing, then we got a big problem. But I still see these guys competing.
Yeah. For now, my only concern, Mike, is that the quickest way for a coach to lose his job, in my opinion, is to lose the locker room. And I'm not saying that Dable, he saved the locker room last year with everything that was going down.
You think he's losing it right now?
No, I don't. But my concern is an offensive and defensive riff over points scored. The defense has done a great job this year. And my concern, if the Giants continue to average, which is In the year 2024, they're averaging 14 points a game. If this continues over the course of the next few games, does the defense have a animosity? Do they have resentment? Do they just start trashing the offense to the media? Hey, we're doing our job. We got to score points too. Like that kind of stuff permeates within the team, and I don't want to see that be a falling out with the offensive defense, and then it just goes total anarchy. Yeah. And nobody, and then Daboll he just loses his touch on the team. I mean, that's my concern.
Yeah, and this is not new to the NFL. This has been going on where defenses or the offensive outshine the other side of the football, and there is a rift. It's happened to the Giants going back in the 50s when the Giants had a dominant defense. Mm-hmm. They would rip into the offense. Yeah.
Even through the 70s, Mike. You lived through it. Even through the 70s, when you had guys like John Mendenhall, Harry Carson come into the league, the offense was terrible.
Yeah, and
it used to be a joke. The best, real quick, Mike. There was a joke back then, or late 70s, early 80s. Who's the best offensive weapon? It was Dave Jennings, the punter. That was the joke, right, Mike?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And with today's media and social media, just one slip from somebody in the locker room can cause a domino effect. So you're right. I think that's where the coaching of Daboll, the head coach, that's where his job is to smooth that and not let that happen. And I think he will. I don't think he's losing the team. I've seen that on Twitter. I don't think he's losing the team. Guys don't like to lose. Yeah. And if you see that frustration on the sidelines, it's normal.
Yeah.
I mean, guys.
I agree. And I have faith in Daboll that he's proactive about it, and he maybe will even address it ahead of time before it gets to that point, So, but truth talk. Hey, Cole, thanks for jumping in, man. We were waiting for you. All right.
I hope he means that's words of wisdom. I hope.
Only 75. He's not 85.
I'm getting there.
Truth is timeless. He's in great shape. He doesn't even take the cart in the golf course. He walks all the holes, right?
Hey, I carry my partner on the golf course. I don't.
Look at that.
I just pick him on my shoulders. No.
That's something. We got to get a video on that. But yeah, to your point, Mike, going back to, I'm confident Daboll will hold everything together. But here we are in week 7. Or getting through week 7, and we got a long way to go yet, and a lot of things can happen. I just hope this doesn't permeate, and over time there's an explosion, right? The pressure just builds, and then it just gets out of control.
That's what coaching staff they have to smooth that over. They can't let it get out of hand.
And bottom line, the offense has to score points. The offense has to score points. We got to score points. Yeah, absolutely. So that's where we're at. But go ahead, Mike. I know you got some more stuff on the
No, give me some defensive give me some stats.
Giants offensive?
Yeah, give me team stats and I'll on the offensive side.
Yeah, on the offensive side, points per game. The Giants are averaging a disgusting 14 points a game. That's 30th in the league. Steelers, once again, we're in year 20. This is 2024. You know what I mean? Where everything is geared towards the offense. Steelers, 23 points a game. They're at 16. Yards per game, total yards on offense, 290 for the Giants, and that's 28th in the league. The Steelers are at 324, which is 19. And keep in mind, a lot of that yardage the Steelers had was when Fields was in there running the ball, and they were moving, more running than anything. A lot of that yardage on that average came with Fields, compiling up a lot of yards on the ground. Passing yards per game, Giants at 189. That's 23rd. Not great. Steelers, 180 passing yards per game. That's 26. But once again, that was when Fields was playing. So a lot more running with Fields. You saw a little bit, Wilson throwing for 260 something yards. So a little bit more of an open game than what they were playing with the first 6 weeks. Rushing yards per game, Giants at 101, which ranks them 25th. Steelers at 134, puts them at 9. So there's a concern, right, Mike? Giants have to stop the run. They're not good against the run.
But if you're saying that, how much of that is Fields?
True. Yeah, we have that. That goes to the point earlier with the total
yards.
Maybe
40 plus yards, 45 yards.
Yeah,
might be Fields.
Now, Najee Harris, you may have the stat. I think he went to like 102 yards last week, something like that.
Yeah, he ran over 100 yards. I know that.
Yeah. Okay. So let's keep
But he
him.
runs hard.
Under
You know,
that.
he's like the kid from Washington, Robinson. He runs
Right.
like that, very hard. And that guy, like we saw, does well against his rivals.
Yeah.
Philly. He does well against the Giants, Dallas. So
Yep.
he's a hard runner, just like Harris is.
Yeah, and once again, he's wears you down, right, Mike? He just wears you down.
That's right.
Third down conversions. Giants at 36% on offense converting. That's 22nd. Steelers at 39% at 17 in the league. Red zone. The Giants are at 42%, 29th in the league. When they don't even get in the red zone, but when they do, they're 42%. Steelers at 54% in the red zone, and these are only touchdowns, not field goals. At 18. Couple more turnovers. Giants have turned the ball over 8 times on offense. Steelers are at 4. Turnover differential, we're stuck at -2. Giants didn't have any turnovers last week. Big difference why the Steelers are 5-2. They're +9 in turnover
They're
differential.
taking advantage of the turnovers.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
I mean, listen, the Steelers are only averaging 23 points a game. So, they put up 37 last week. That brought that average up a little bit.
Wouldn't you love it if the Giants averaged 23 points a game?
Yeah, that's amazing, right? Amazing.
The Giants were what? Last year, the Giants were what? Second in turnovers?
They were tied for first, I believe, with Baltimore, +14. One of the only teams to ever go plus like 10 and not make a playoff game.
Right.
10 or more.
And they only won 6 games last year because of their lack of offensive power.
Yeah.
Or prowess, whatever word you want to use.
Yep.
But yeah, the Steelers, they're like, they like, and you made a good point earlier, talking about Tomlin. They don't like go with the trend. They have a philosophy of a balanced offensive attack, run, pass. They establish a run and they feed off of them with the pass.
Right.
And to them, it's not a passing league.
Yeah.
So.
No. And we've seen more balance come with the NFL, right? We're seeing teams run the ball more. I think a couple years ago, it's interesting how – yeah, we'll get to that one second. Let's hit this question. I have a question for Carb Crush. And this goes to you too, Mike. Who do you want to start at quarterback in 2025? Well, I'll tell you what, Jay.
He's not on the roster.
He's not on the roster.
On the roster. How's that?
But I do think of a vet presence, and I'm not really a Russell Wilson fan anymore. He doesn't hit the slants. He doesn't work the middle of the field, but – it always sticks in my mind that Dable and Shane met with him before he went to Pittsburgh. I wouldn't be surprised.
This a few weeks back.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And keep an eye on that Monday night. Not they're going to talk about that on the field, but how they communicate with each other with Shane and Dable when they see Wilson. Because I wouldn't be surprised in the offseason. Maybe they make a run at Wilson to be a stopgap and have a rookie sit behind him for a couple years.
It's not a stretch. It's not a stretch. Chris, it's not a stretch. I even made a comment on Twitter. Okay. I made a don't be shocked if the Giants draft a quarterback in this draft come up and even in 2026.
Yeah.
It's not a stretch. I'm not saying first round picks in both or maybe one in 1 year and one not in another year. Yep. But remember, they did that a few years back. They drafted Jones and then they drafted another quarterback.
That's right.
After that.
Yeah. So, and Mike, I think we're at a point with the Giants, and I think a lot of fans are on board with this, whatever it takes. If there's a guy you like, if you have to sell the farm to get him, to get your franchise guy, just get him. Because as much as I want the Giants –
draft?
I'm talking draft, yeah. Because as much as I want Giants to win games, let's say they win 6 games, right? That's going to put them right in that middle area. They might put him at that 7th, 8th pick. And then if they got the guy they want and he's going to be picked at 1 or 2 and they have to move up, if they got to, sell more than they anticipated to get them, just go get them, because we can't be going through this again with another Daniel Jones situation where we're rolling the dice, fingers crossed. Hopefully it works out. Get the guy and just pay the piper.
Yeah. We're early. We're still in October and a lot can change. And right now, right now, how many we're seeing 1, 2, we're seeing 3, 4, is it 3 quarterbacks from the draft starting and that were drafted? We have Williams, Daniels.
Yep.
We have the kid on Denver starting.
Bo Nix, we're seeing, right?
Right. Nix. And then am I missing anybody? It's just 3 of them, right?
Yeah, you're seeing.
starting.
Yeah, well, you got the. Let's
Penix
see.
is not starting yet,
No,
right?
Penix not starting, but you have.
So-and-so's hurt. McCarty's hurt.
Yeah, McCarthy. He's the one that's hurt. So you got who's
McCarthy's
the
hurt. So that's three. So that's the yeah. That's the, they had 5 guys drafted in the top 10. That's right. 5 quarterbacks.
right?
Well, we're not going to see that this year. That's for sure. We're
Yeah,
not going to see. So right
yeah.
now,
Oh,
we're
he's
not
right.
seeing it.
Caleb Williams with Chicago. Right. Thanks, Cole.
Right,
Yeah.
Williams. Yeah, I said
You
Williams.
said Williams. Okay. So yeah.
I don't think right now there's any quarterback better than Williams or Daniels coming out of the draft right now.
Okay.
I don't think.
Right.
You know, everybody talks about the kid out of Sanders out of Colorado
Mhm.
and Ward out of Miami, who
Yeah.
I liked Ward last year. I saw him
Yeah.
play out of Washington State. I liked him, and I still like him. But
Yeah.
I don't think they're better at this point than Williams or Daniels.
Right. And the Giants Brain Trust visited Sanders yesterday. They were out at practice, but you know what they're doing?
Okay.
Their due diligence. You know,
Yeah.
right? They have a
Yeah,
little
of
time. I
course.
want to, they have a Monday night game. Shane probably, obviously went out there, and but they're doing their due diligence. So I wouldn't get too crazy over it just yet because they're
And it's
going to
so
go see
early.
everybody. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
going to see them
it's
all.
so early, Chris. We don't know where the Giants are
Yeah,
going to
I
finish.
can't even get into it yet. But
These kids, these two, I think those 2 guys, if they don't get seriously hurt, I think they're going to finish in the top 5.
Mhm.
Those 2 at least in
Right.
the draft. I
Yeah.
really do. I
you're
think they're going to finish top 5.
Yeah,
But again, to answer that question, whoever the Giants get, I think it's going to be. I think they're going to get somebody like you said, in either a trade or a free agency as a stopgap, and then draft somebody. Let them develop. Don't rush them.
Yep, and they have to because they can't just wait till the draft, and re-sign a lock. They got to get somebody they need a contingency plan in case it doesn't work out in the draft. God forbid they don't get the guy they want. Now they have nobody and they're stuck with a guy like Locke, who's a journeyman. So better off getting the guy that you really are confident in, whether it's a Darnold, whether it's maybe a Russell Wilson. Listen, off the top of my head, there's we said Darnold, Wilson. There's a couple other guys out there, but they're.
Well, what's the rumor I heard? What's the rumor? Stafford coming out, being traded.
He's not going to go to the Giants. If anything, Minnesota's the one that they're talking about. But I can't.
Minnesota makes sense because they have a good team. They can go far in the playoffs with a better quarterback.
Yeah, and Sean McVay hates the Giants. His grandfather was fired from the Giants. If you notice when the Rams play the Giants with McVay, he likes to run up the score and he keeps throwing. A few years ago at MetLife when they played, he couldn't stop, and they kept. He has a little animosity toward the Giants, and I know they did a trade a couple years ago. We moved up to get Jalen Hyatt. They got an extra pick, but there's no way they're going to send a future possible Hall of Famer in Stafford potential to the Giants. So I can't.
Hey, Chris, pull up real Cole the last statement, and then we're kind of getting off track, but just get this one here. Now.
Yep, he's right. Cole, you're right. Look at the Colts last year.
Right. So if you look at this right here, do you think if Donald continues doing what he's doing, do you think he will settle for like a 2-year deal or a 3-year deal with the Vikings? Or he'll look for more? Because remember, you got McCarthy sitting right behind him recovering from an injury.
If I'm Darnold, I don't trust the Vikings, even if I get a 2-year deal. Because as soon as McCarthy's healthy, he'll get phased out and they'll give him a shot. And Darnold, other than this year, he has a history of getting hurt himself. And I could see him getting hurt and never getting his job back.
Right. So if you're Darnold, you know that you have an option. If you continue success here, you have an option because you'll have a few teams looking for you.
That's right. And you know what, Cole? You're absolutely right. I don't see the Vikings letting him walk either. But if I'm Darnold, I don't know if I trust the situation.
I don't think he'll stay. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think he'll stay because he knows McCarthy's ready. He might be out. And it's almost like the Richardson situation with the Colts, right? When he got hurt last year. Flacco, right? So they kept, they didn't want to give up on Flacco. So, could be similar. But yeah, that definitely pays watching, though. That's going to be an interesting situation. Now with Stafford, I know we're getting off the subject, but with Stafford, the Vikings, I'm not sure, they want an upgrade. So if that were to happen, then hey, Darnold's off. Darnold's on the table big time. If they were to pull that off, which doesn't make sense either, because now you're gonna have Stafford playing ahead of McCarthy for a few years. That's just weird too. So I don't know if that is media generated, if that's actually real, real solid, info, or is that rumorville? So, it's going to be interesting to see. We got till November the 5th, I believe, the trade deadline. It comes a week later after Halloween this year. So we got another 2 weeks, and we'll see what happens.
And Real Cole just added on his next comment. They can, and you're right. He's probably is playing better because of the system and the talent around him. But that's okay.
Yeah, Donald does a great job.
And that's how a lot of quarterbacks in a walk year. That's how they get contracts.
Yeah,
that's how. Look at when in New England, when Brady got hurt in the preseason, who was that quarterback that came in and led them to 11-5 record or something like that? Guys, help me out. I'm getting a blank.
Not O'Connell. That was
what was the quarterback for New England?
Yeah,
it wasn't it wasn't Jimmy Garoppolo. It wasn't him. It was way before him.
Garoppolo. Yeah, that was when that's when he tore his I think Brady.
Yeah, Matt Castle.
Matt Castle. Yeah, the
Thanks,
chief.
Cole.
Yep.
Thanks,
Good job.
Cole.
Awesome.
I was getting a senior moment.
Yep.
Matt Castle had a phenomenal year, and it netted him a big contract.
Yeah.
For another team.
He was a good backup.
And he couldn't follow through with it, but because he had a great team around him and he fit the system perfectly.
Correct.
And that could be Donald, like he just said.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
Listen, it doesn't matter because I just don't think Donald's going to stay knowing that JJ's right behind him, just waiting to jump in.
Yeah, for sure. JT Savoy, yeah, Stafford would be a sick get. I'm fine with this version of Darnold. Yeah, me too. Wild card, can Justin Fields be saved? You know what? Maybe Dable believes in him, but that would be interesting too. Keep an eye on Fields, but you know what? He doesn't throw downfield a lot. He runs around. He ad libs, so I'm not sure. Coach, all better than the coach killer. Yeah. I mean, but I hear you, JT. Appreciate it, man, with the input.
We gotta get back on track. I would love to still talk about this stuff, but
yeah, I know. We'll believe me, on the Monday show, they're gonna, as the weeks go by, this is gonna
we have
get
a
more
bye
heated.
week. Hey, we have a bye week. We could have fun with this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of, and we'll announce it again, Monday show. Craig just sent out the memo. It's going to be a preview show starting at 7:00. So it's going to be the Monday night preview. So right up to game time. So
that'll be fun.
Yeah, so they'll be doing that right up to kickoff. So check that out, 7:00 on Monday.
You know what I'd love to see? I would love to see. You know how ESPN does Peyton and Eli?
Yeah,
watching the game, they're talking. I would love to see Craig being up there, watching the game and watching it unfold, and just seeing him going nuts.
I want to see a camera with Craig getting yelled at by his wife because he has all the he's constantly tweeting, he's constantly putting giant content. I don't know how he does it. I love to see Craig get yelled at by his wife and put in his place, right? Everybody, Craig needs to be put in his place. I know you guys try. Cole tries. Jay Ferries tries. He needs to be put in his place, and we want to all witness that. We need to catch his wife yelling at him. But Mike, you want to go over to defense with Giants Steelers?
Yeah, for the Giants. Yeah, for the Giants, it boils down to obviously Dexter Lawrence is the best player on that side of the ball. He has got 9 sacks as an interior lineman, and we're only in games coming to game 8.
Yeah,
and that's
number
pretty
1.
impressive.
He leads the NFL in sacks.
Yeah, and we understand that Hutchinson got hurt, but for an interior lineman, he's having a great year right now, and just knock on wood, man. Really knock on wood for him. Hope he stays healthy because he's putting together a phenomenal year.
That's it. Hey, Robert, thanks for jumping in the show, man. Appreciate that. If the Rams send Stafford anywhere, Darnold winds up with the Rams. Could be.
Yeah,
good point.
Anything's possible.
Good observation. Yep.
Then you got like I mentioned earlier, I think I said this off air. You got Ojulari with 4 sacks along with Burns. So I think Ojulari's doing a good job in place of Thibodeau. So he's doing what they want him to do. Is get to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And then you got leading tackler for them is the rookie Tyler Nubin. He's got 48 tackles. And right behind him is 2 inside linebackers in Okereke and McFadden. And that's, for me, as a defense, I would love to see my 2 inside linebackers lead the team in tackles. I think that's what you want to see because that tells me my big boys up front are doing their job, occupying all the offensive linemen and let my inside linebackers make plays. That's what I would love to see. And right now, and I wouldn't be shocked by the time the season ends, those two guys are going to be 1 and 2 for the Giants in tackles, lead the team in tackles. And then now you got, as a team, Giants defense. They look pretty good as a team. Giants, don't they? Team stats?
Team stats are it's just a shame with this offense. And Granizer 12, thanks for jumping in. Hey, Baba Booey to you, Mikey and Chris. Baba Booey, Mikey and Chris. Time to break some Steelers balls. Well, I'll tell you, we'd love to. It's hard to break balls when you're 2-5, but yeah, man, we'll try. We'll try. Appreciate it. It's a shame, Mike, when you look at these team stats, because I know last week they caved in later in the game and Barkley just killed them.
They played really well early.
They played early on.
Bad plays.
The lack of scoring just takes the wind out of the sails, I believe, on defense. And we saw that with Banks giving up, and that shouldn't happen anyway. But it's just when you look at some of the defensive stats, they're pretty good. Giants are 12th in the league with points per game, 21. That puts them at 12. Steelers, really good. They're at 14. That puts them at 2 in the league. Yards per game, Giants 317 yards per game. That puts them at 12 total yards. Steelers 298. That puts them at 8. Very good. Passing yards per game, Giants 179 giving up passing yards, and that puts them at 6. Big part of that, Mike, is because that pass rush, right, is getting there. Yes. So they lead the league in sacks, whatever was 31. So that takes a lot of pressure off the guys on the back end. Yep. Also, they're running the ball on them pretty well. So, when the teams are running the ball in the Giants, they're getting chunks. So that takes away their pass, from them throwing it as much. Steelers, 217 yards per game in passing, 22 in the league. This is where it gets a little dicey. Last week, the numbers got skewed big time. Giants, 138 on average yards rushing, given up on defense. That's 25. Steelers, we talked about this earlier, Mike. They're ranked 3rd in the NFL, giving up 81 yards a game. Great up front. Hayward's still playing tough. You got the TJ Watts, the Highsmith. I mean, these guys, even in run support, a guy like Joey Porter, he carries that like his dad. His dad was a linebacker, but he has that linebacker mentality. Comes up and makes a hit, doesn't mind run support. And Joey Porter, man, was he there at the time when we took not Banks? Oh yeah, right.
I think he was. I think it was when we took Banks.
Yeah,
I think he was still on the board because the Giants traded up one slot to get Banks. I think Joey Porter is anybody. I usually remember every single pick, but not right now. Who remembers when Joey Porter was taken?
Mike, not going now, because now I think a lot of people would say, yeah, I'd rather have Porter. But at the time, were you more inclined for Banks?
I was happy
or
with
were you
Banks.
Happy? Yeah, okay.
I was happy with Banks. I had Banks. Giants picking Banks in the first round. I did. I think a lot of people did.
Yeah. So jury's still out. I mean, he has ups and downs, but
yeah.
He had those few
year.
Right, and he's had a few good games. Last week was the lack of effort on the Hurts run. That's where everybody got crazy. But other than that, he actually played decent last week. Than that, third down conversions, Giants very good. This is a team that was terrible third down conversions, for years. Giants are at 30%, which allowing on third down, which is 3rd in the league. Steelers, not bad either. They're at 35%, puts them at 14. Red zone touchdowns, Giants 53% giving up red zone TDs. That puts them at 13 in the league. Steelers 42% red zone touchdowns allowed. That puts them at 4. Takeaway, big difference here, almost double. Yeah, Giants are at 6. They've been holding at 6 for a couple weeks. That puts them at 29 in the league. Steelers 13. That puts them at 3. So we talk about the turnover differential earlier, Mike. Big reason why, with a lack of offense earlier on with Fields, that they're 5-2. They hit field goals, tough defense, and they don't turn the ball over. Big reason why they're 5-2.
Simple philosophy right there, isn't it?
Yeah, right. It really is. It's not like it's not hard to figure out. Sacks, Giants at 31, and this is what kills you, right? Giants at 31 sacks, 1st in the league. And they're 2-5 because of the lack of offense production. Steelers 15 sacks for the season, and they're at 18.
Right. And what's ironic, Christian mentioned Giants defense allowing 21 points a game. If the Giants offense was even the middle of the pack, I guarantee you the Giants would probably only be giving up 15 points a game.
Right. Yeah.
Because you think about how much time they got to spend on that field, which was evident last week against Philly. They got tired, and then that's how those scores just when you get tired of guys out there, and I'm sure the Giants probably what do they have almost 70 snaps on defense. That's a lot. That's a lot. 3 and out, and then suddenly you got to go back out and you got to be chasing Smith and AJ Brown and Barkley.
Right. And now you're up against a running back like Najee Harris. Great comparison.
Yeah,
he's like a Brian
Robinson.
Yep, he's also like the guy from Seattle, tough like him. The running
Walker.
back.
Yep.
Walker. He's just beats you up and wears you down, and that's the concern I have, Mike, for Monday night is that the Giants are down 14-3, and then the defense has lost hope in the offense, and now Najee Harris starts ripping off chunks of yards in the running game. The Giants can't let this game get out of control. And when I mean out of control, Mike, they can't go down by more than 10 points. It feels like 14
That's
points
like 20
will be 28. Yeah. Right, guys? Whatever the opposition scores and they're up by, just double it. If the Giants are losing 7-0, feels like it's 14-0. If it's 14-7, that almost feels like it's 21-7. But until they score, that's just the feeling I have as a fan, that they just are further behind than what the score indicates.
So, unless you have something else, you're leading us right into the keys of the game.
Perfect.
That was perfect for you. You slid right in there perfectly.
That's why we prepped that for 3 hours. We've been flawless tonight.
Yep, I actually going to have 4 keys to the game for each team.
Really? Wow, we're breaking our rules.
4 this time.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good. Let's hear it.
All right, so with the Giants, I mentioned this earlier. Daniel Jones is a totally different quarterback on the road than he is at home. On the road, he looks like the quarterback that Joe Schoen, when he signed him, was expecting to live up to that contract. At home, he's Colt McCoy, or he's what's his name, Mike Lennon, all these guys the Giants had.
He's in Mike Lennon territory soon, huh? He's getting there.
Yeah. So with Jones, if he can play like he has the 3 away games, like I mentioned, he's 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, 100+ passing rating in all those games. If you can get that out of Jones, where he doesn't make mistakes and makes the throws he needs to make. I'm not saying he's got to be Elway or he's got to be Dan Marino, but like he had the performance 21. What did he do? 21 for 33, something like that for 250 yards, 2 touchdown passes, no INTs. And I mean, we get that from Jones. We should be in the ball game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. Giants' running game has been non-existent in their 5. If you look at their 5 losses this year, they've been horrendous. Their running game.
Abel gets away from it awfully quick. He wants to come out throwing, and he doesn't.
Yeah. I think this is a game we need to be patient. And I know the Steelers are good against the run, but the Giants got to run the ball. They can't just accept the fact that the Steelers are a good defensive running team and then the bet on a run and try to be cute. They can't. Giants are not a cute team. You can't be cute.
Mike, I'd rather bring a jumbo package in, bring me the extra tackle there or the extra tight end, and just even if they show it, just try to establish the running game.
Let's see what I that's what I would think. Yeah. And listen, I'm not saying that, you should not throw it all on first down. Yes, they need to be smart, but they got to get the running game going. I mean, if the Giants can run the ball, I think you were saying they're averaging 100 yards or so a game. If they can get close to that, I would deem that a good game for them in their game plan. They did a good job, and that's what they certainly have to do.
That's right, and Cold is saying it too. That's what I don't understand about Dable. Offensive linemen love to run the ball, right? Cold, it's knowledge, right? Offensive linemen love to be the nasty, to set up, to set the tone up front. They'd much rather, run block than pass block and set the tone, and that's what I don't understand either. Is the game is close early on with the defense, and just even if they have to, they're not, getting first downs right away. Just don't get away from it, right? I think they rushed 7 times within the first 30 plays.
Yeah, don't get away from it. And aside from Neighbors, I know, and obviously it's smart. Neighbors should be your number one target, but someone else needs to step up for the Giants. Someone else on that team, whether it's a receiver or a running back, someone needs to step up and have a good game. It can't always be Neighbors, even though I think he's going to have a good game. I think he'll get his touches, 70 plus yards. He'll have that in this game. But you need someone else. You can't just depend on a rookie to lead you.
Right. Maybe this is the game where the tight ends get more involved. I mean, we've seen a little bit of a sprinkle last week.
So with Johnson, Johnson.
Maybe this is the week that Bellinger or Johnson get a little more involved. I mean, Slayton and Wandell about having the drops. They seem to have it at the same time at the same games. Like it's not Slayton one game, they both do it in the same game. Like they both have equal drops each game.
Right. And can we please friggin' tell our offensive linemen stop going downfield? We had a touchdown taken away from them.
Well, I think that's part of the I
know that was the
run pass.
Right.
Yeah, and I think they gotta remind themselves just play it safe, I guess, because they don't know, and God, they're ticky-tack sometimes, right? These officials, they will call it.
It is what it is, but please, God.
I'm sure it happens more times than we don't even see flags. It seems like the Giants are always on the short end with those calls for sure. But the last one is the defense, and this is, I might be a broken record here, but this is the Giants' best talent is their front seven. They have to dominate the line of scrimmage, right? From Okereke and those guys and Ojulari and Burns, they have to obviously put pressure on Wilson, and Dexter Lawrence needs to be Dexter Lawrence, obviously. And I kind of like, Jordan Riley played pretty good last week, and he's going to need someone else to help him because when you take Dexter, who does have to come out because obviously he can't play every snap. Mm-hmm. It seems that's when teams capitalize on running plays inside the tackles against the Giants. So someone needs to step up there and at least keep them from getting big plays. A Riley, a DJ Davidson, Nacho, even Chapman. Right. Yeah, they need to help Dex out and don't let Najee get to the second level.
Right.
More times than not. Easier said than done, but help out Dex.
Sure. Yeah, because Dex can't do everything, and teams know that. That's why they're double teaming him.
Yeah, and you notice, Mike, as soon as he comes out of the game, they run right out his spot.
Exactly. So now getting to the Steelers, for them, and you already pointed out because I wasn't sure if Russell Wilson was going to get the start, because they're two different types of quarterbacks, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. So Russell did pretty well last week, especially the second half, and so I expect him to do better this game right away. I think he'll do better. So the Giants obviously need to put pressure on him, but for them, Wilson needs to attack that secondary. He's got to attack the secondary.
Yeah,
quick passes, whatever. They got to attack the secondary because the Giants haven't shown that their secondary is at least top 15 in the league. They're not.
He likes you saw him go to tight end quite a bit last week, Fairmouth, and he ran over.
Yeah, and that's a weakness for the Giants, right?
Yeah, he likes the tight end. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention him. He's a guy you got to watch out for. Him with Pickens and Harris. Those are the three-headed monsters that they have to get involved and let the game dictate around them offensively. That's what they got to do.
And how about Pickens, the catches he made, right, last week? Oh, my God. I mean, we see the Giant receivers dropping balls all over the place, and there's Pickens making these acrobatic.
Makes people say, why did we draft Robinson, not draft him? All right. We can't go back, guys. The draft is over.
Gotta move forward.
Can't go back. It's over.
And Wandell's going to be good. He just needs to settle down and just make, just got to make these catches. He can't be dropping. Once he gets it in his hands.
They're two different types of receivers anyway.
Right.
Think about it. If you got Pickens, maybe we wouldn't have drafted Neighbors. Who knows?
True.
We don't know.
True. So,
and I mentioned that's my second point was about Harris, Pickens, and Fairmouth. A balanced attack That is the Steelers' MO. Balanced attack. They're gonna beat you with the run, and they're gonna also hurt you in the air. If they can take control of the game offensively, they will. Now the Steelers defense, okay. TJ Watt, he's not having a TJ Watt year, right? What kind of year is he having? I haven't not much about him, right?
What does he have? A few sacks.
A few sacks, right?
Maybe he has three or four.
Yeah. So here is a game just like last week. This is going to be a game for TJ Watt to have a going out party. They need him to get like multiple sacks, 3 sacks possibly, for them to dominate the Giants in this game. Stop the run and let Jones beat you. That's what they got to do.
And he'll be playing exclusively probably over Illuminor on the left side. He's on the left, so
and that's going to be a tough task for Illuminor.
Tough. And listen, they got to put a tight end there, whether it's a Bellinger. I don't know about Johnson as a blocker, I guess.
Well, Manhurts,
right? That's a good call there. That's what he does. And they have to help out. Which you know what? That's why even though the Steelers are good against the run, establish the running game, put the extra tight end there, and help out in the running game and run at him even. So, but I'm with you. Don't let him wreck the game because he is due for one of those type of TJ Watt games, which he hasn't had that explosion yet. So, of course, the Giants are always the team that come into town and everybody feeds on them. So, just don't let that happen. Put Manhurts over there and give Illuminor a little help if you need to.
Oh yeah. So if this game boils down to the Giants can't run the ball, and then Jones has to lead them, it's going to be tough. Mm-hmm. It's going to be tough. What's it say? 3 matches?
Yeah, good question. I think Neighbors and Joey Porter Jr.'s won, and I believe Joey Porter followed. No, I don't think he was following Adams last week. I'm not sure if he follows or he stays on his side. But
who is this?
What's that?
I'm just trying to read this. What is he?
He's saying 3 matchups that both of you will be watching that the rest of us fans should pay attention to. I say Illuminor and TJ Watt. I say Porter and Neighbors when they're squared up. And I see Najee Harris and the defensive line of the Giants. That's my 3 matchups. How about you, Mike?
All right, so let's see. Let me look. Obviously, we're always gonna go on. Let's see, Banks with Pickens. That's a good one. Let's look at that one.
Yeah, I like that. That is a good one.
Let's look at. See, you say the defensive line. I see Harris with the 2 inside linebackers. I'm gonna narrow it down. I'm gonna say Okereke and McFadden against Harris. Okay, I think that's the key because I think those guys are starting to trend upward in terms of tackles. I think they're starting to pick it up now.
Yeah,
and let me do one more, right?
Yeah. And granted, there's so many. There's actually a few. So give us yours as well.
Yeah. Of course, I want to see. Of course, Neighbors is big. Would Porter be the one covering Neighbors?
I'm not sure if he. I don't know 100% if he travels, but I would think that he might, considering it's Neighbors and the other corner is Dante Jackson. So I'm not sure if what they'll do. Now, in the nickel, they got the undrafted guy, Bishop, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Neighbor be moved around into the slot. Don't forget, Neighbors plays from the slot, too.
We did that last week.
So I wouldn't be surprised the Giants' game plan, good question, Granizer, is that they want to get Neighbors on Bishop, the undrafted nickel. So that could happen, So
you want to see Neighbors in the slot more? Is that what you're saying?
I think in this game would be interesting going up against a guy like Bishop where if they could hit a slant, that could be, interesting. But I'll tell you another one, Mike, that I just thought of. Alex Highsmith on the other side, the other outside linebacker against Azudu. If it's Azudu, it's going to be really interesting. That's going to be paying attention.
How is he as a pass rusher, Highsmith?
Well, this year, I don't know how many sacks he has, but, a couple of years ago, he had like 14. I think back in 2022, he had about 12 or 14 sacks, right in that range. So he doesn't have anything close to that pace right now. I don't even know offhand, but it's he doesn't have 7 or 8. He's not next to Dex up there. But I don't know the number, but he did have.
So obviously, it would be a one-on-one thing. You wouldn't have another tight end on that side.
Well, I don't know. You might. depending on how it's working out. I mean, if Illuminor's doing a decent job and Azudu's got to get pulled. I mean, and then whoever's over there is going to have to get some help. I guess what you don't want is to get wrecked on both sides, right? Hopefully Illuminor could hold it down, which I'm confident he can. Because like you said, TJ Watt isn't having a TJ Watt year. I think the left tackle spot is going to be the issue where we're going to really pay attention to, because Azudu's going to have a short leash.
I think, Chris, this is going to be the coming out game for Mr. TJ Watt.
Yeah. Oh, boy,
I think the Giants are going to unwillingly make him have a triple sacks or stuff like that. I just see it.
Mike, take this. Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Mike, take this question. Apologies if I missed it. It's from Granizer 12. Should the Giants be sellers or buyers with free agency, the week coming upon us? Yeah, and it's November 5th too, so we got another. You're right. It's coming up a little bit later this year, so we got a little time. And
we talked about this off air, Chris and I.
Go ahead, take it, Mike.
And I mentioned, look, if the Giants lose the next couple of games leading up to the trading deadline, I think they should be sellers, but I'd be careful on who they would sell and trade away. Something about Ojulari playing now with Thibodeau hurt. He looks good. He looks good. I mean, someone mentioned in the comments the bend, and I saw that too. He has such great bend he's showing, and he's got 4 sacks, and I think it's 3 starts. Chris, he's taken over 3 games.
Yeah.
Or is it 2 games? 3 games?
No, I think it's 3 now.
Is it 3? I mean, he's averaging a sack a game, and he's doing more than what they expected from him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be careful trading him, because what are you going to get for him? And I really think if he goes somewhere and gets a chance to play, he's a double-digit player.
Yeah, and Azeez is going to be a free agent at the end of the year too. So that's something.
Yeah, and I don't know how much he would warrant if he plays a lot now, because Tibbs is hurt. Yeah, those stats will come up, and he will get more money.
Yeah, and he's going to get grabbed. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, Mike, only because on the open market, if he continues playing like this, somebody will get him. So if
I can get a lot, but how much can you get for him? What do you think?
Well, if the Giants are 3 and let's say they lose Monday, and you have another game before you play Washington. Let's say the Giants are 2 and 7. At that point, I'm a seller, because I'm not thinking you're going to be able to re-sign him anyway if he continues playing well. That's the only thing, if they're out of it. Now, we've seen this happen against Seattle, Cleveland. We didn't know it was going to be this bad. It seems like on these road, I think the Giants are going to lose, but it doesn't surprise me if they somehow win. This is just the way the Giants are with these road games.
I know.
So if they win, not that you're back in it, but it gets interesting. Washington at home, if they could freaking win a home game, and Jaden Daniels maybe doesn't play, so I don't know, Mike. But yeah,
I mean, think about this: if they make a trade with Ojulari and Tibbs, I didn't even see this. What does he say?
They better keep Azeez for the rest of the season. That comes from Cole.
It's a good point. I mean, who else is going to play there?
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
Yeah, I think you're looking at, from what I've heard, Thibs coming back like around week 10. So that's still, it could be at week 11. So that's still a ways away yet. We still got 4 more weeks.
That's well after the trading deadline, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 more weeks. So it'd be like you got 2 more games, Monday and then the Washington game, and then the trade deadline's at Tuesday the 5th. That would put you at 9 games. So let's see, 2 and 5. There's 7 right now, 9. So you'd be at game 10. You'd probably have 3 weeks before Thibs comes back. And at that point, they're 2 and 7. It depends what the record is, right, Cole? I mean, if they're really out of it and he's an unrestricted free agent, unless you think you could sign him, I mean, if you want to keep him, maybe you're better off trying. I know they don't make a lot of in-season deals. Maybe you're better off trying to sign him now if he's having a good season before he hits the open
it's so
market.
hard. It's so hard to find quality pass rushes. And when you have a team, you got to have more than just 2 guys on the edge. You got to have depth. I mean, the Giants' success in the 2000s was that, the Giants rush. They had depth. They had 4 or 5 guys got to the quarterback. And it's obviously an argument you can have that. That's why the Giants won the Super Bowls.
Yep.
Brady had no time to throw the football.
Oh yeah, that was it. And Chris D, I hear you, man. We're in no position to be sellers. Lack of depth is killing us, definitely. But is the way these pass rushers are wanted around the league after the season? Are we going to be able even to pay Azeez? So that's why I'm only thinking if they're 2-7, 2-8, at that point, is it
If
better
they
to get
overpay,
something?
if they
Somebody
if
will.
someone,
He's making a
they,
name
like,
for himself.
What's overpaying? What would you consider overpaying? A second round pick for him? He was a second round pick.
Shit, if you can get a second for him, I would take that without a doubt.
Third round pick?
You're not going to get a second. You'd probably get a 5. You'd probably get a 5, a 4 or 5.
So 5, you think is the best we'll get for him?
I don't know. In season.
Let me ask you another question. How much
don't
would
know.
we get in compensation if he went in free agency if we lost him?
Well, he's probably going to get. He's probably going to get 10. I would think a guy with his pass rushing ability, if he stays healthy the rest of the season, I could see him getting 10 million.
So that would put you in the third.
10,
wouldn't that put you in the third round compensation? That much money? So you're better off keeping him, and if you lose in the free agency.
Yeah, well, that's if everything plays out, right, Mike? At the end of the season, that's if everything plays out the way we hope it does with Azeez. Okay. But yeah, I hear you. But you know what? A team like Detroit desperately needs somebody for a Hutchinson. He could be a nice fit. Maybe Detroit throws a little more in the bag and goes for it. We're just throwing scenarios out, but that could be an interesting.
Look at you playing agent over here.
Only because the rumor has been with T.J. Watt with Detroit, and also, or not T.J. Watt, Crosby was the rumor with the Raiders. So maybe Azeez is kind of a lower scale, but a guy that they could use. But guys overpay when they're going to go for it. Detroit's a team that'll go for it and will overpay. So if you're 2-8 and you can get a second rounder for Azeez, man, that's tempting, right?
Yeah.
But we got to see. Let's see if the Giants can pull this out on Monday. I'm still not convinced it's a definite loss. I really not. It's just the way the Giants are, right, everybody? Just when you think you want to pack it up, they pull out a win.
The Giants are a better road team. They play better on the road.
Yeah, they do.
I just think you don't press as much. It's a mental thing, guys, right? It's a mental thing.
Yeah, I think Jones just plays differently without hearing the echoes in the at home, hearing everybody.
Yep, Chris D, good point. Last comment about him. Good point.
Yeah. Remember, draft picks are lottery picks. We know that is. Yeah. Hey, that's the Rams, right, Chris? We saw the Rams do this for years. They gave up all their draft picks. They won a Super Bowl, and they were getting the Von Millers, and they were Staffords. They were getting guys to put them over the top. They pay for it a little bit now, but hey, I'd give that up if I knew we were going to get a Super Bowl. Yeah, I'll give up draft picks if I knew we were going to make a playoffs and make a run, no doubt, 100%. Hey, we know how these draft picks have worked out, right? We're not exactly killing it with draft picks, or the Giants are.
I know. So you want to do a prediction, Chris? We've been so good with this. What are we like undefeated with it?
Oh man. Well, we did we say the Giants were going to win last week? Did we?
No, we said they were going to lose, but
we're going to lose. All right, so we were good. Yeah, we got that right for once. Cool. Go ahead, Mike. You go first. Or you?
Well, I kind of like to go where you're going with. I think it's going to be a closer game than we think. I think because the Giants do play better on the road, especially Daniel Jones plays better on the road. I think this will be a close game. I don't see a high scoring game. Mm-hmm. I think it will be kind of along the lines of what these teams are averaging per game and what they're giving up, which is almost like reverse. Because I heard you saying it. Right. I could see them winning Pittsburgh winning this game like 21-14, 21-13, something like that, 20-13. And the Giants, would it shock me if they won? No, it wouldn't shock me. Only because they're on the road. Right. They play better on the road. Giants at home are a totally different team.
Yeah, and I think your score is right. That's just about the points that, they kind of averaged. Giants around 14-16, 23.
I like that Josephs with the game-winning field goal.
Yeah. With Joseph, is that what somebody put that?
Yeah, he put it on the bottom. No, I just said Joseph.
Oh, with the overtime. Oh, they're 20. Yeah, right. Speaking of field goals, Boswell's a good kicker, man. He's a very good kicker, and that's where a lot of points come from with the Steelers, is come from that kicking game. But I say I'm with you, Mike. I think the Steelers win it. I'm going to say 24-16.
Yeah.
24-16 Steelers. But to Granders or 12's question, game prediction with the Giants player of the game if in the win. In a Giants win, who would get the player of the game for the Giants? Good question.
If the Giants win, it's got to be Daniel Jones.
I agree with you.
It's got to be Daniel Jones.
And the reason I say that as well is because the Steelers are so good against the running game. I think if the Giants were to win this game, Daniel Jones would have to make a few plays.
Yeah.
And
And
Steelers
he
are a
does
little
play well on the
susceptible
road.
to
That's the
passing
only
game.
reason why I say that. That's
Yeah,
the only
I'm
reason why I
with you.
say that. And
Wouldn't it?
how about-
Yeah.
Chris, how about this fun one? And guys, what do you think? Is Russell Wilson going to play the whole game? Will we see Justin Fields at all in packages or in certain plays?
Maybe in short yardage if they wanted to do something like that, or not a wildcat, but some sort of a play or formation which called for him to be in the game. But I think Wilson is the guy unless he really looks bad. How about you?
Okay, and let's flip the coin with Jones. If Jones struggles mightily, do we see him getting pulled?
Yes.
Okay.
I think Dable was so quick to say Jones is the starter. That doesn't mean he finishes the game. I think Jones gets a quarter. I think if Jones looks bad, he's coming right out. And that might be the end of him for the rest of the season. I almost equate this to a starting pitcher in baseball. It's like he's had a lot of starts. He hasn't really been pulled yet other than last week. But I think in this game, I think if he doesn't do something in the first quarter, show some life, and he gets down, I'm not saying guys aren't going to they got to make their plays too, but if it's the same pattern, I believe he wouldn't. He's not going to make it to the second half if the offense.
So you give him a quarter, which is relatively two possessions.
He's got to show something, and whether moving the ball down, it can't be 3 and outs for first quarter.
I got you.
Okay. They got to get a few first downs, and I think if a spark, they bring in Locke. Keep an eye on DeVito this week being activated. If you see on Saturday with the activations, DeVito's the emergency third string quarterback or the emergency quarterback. Keep an eye if DeVito is actually activated to quarterback.
That means that that Dable would be considered about pulling.
Yes.
Jones.
Keep an eye on that because the only way DeVito gets in as the third quarterback is if the first 2 quarterbacks go down. DeVito's activated. That tells you right there that this may be a short leash. And you know what? They don't play everybody on the roster anyway. Sometimes they don't even dress 48. Or they dress 48. They don't activate 48.
Right.
They activate 46, which is mind-boggling. Did that at the beginning of the season. They only activate like 46, 47. But anyway.
Okay, so let's see what happens. I mean, listen, I want to see a good game. I want to see the Giants have a chance to win this game. That's what I want to see. Yes, I like to see the Giants win, but I'm being realistic. They are, what are they, 5-point underdog? I think I
didn't
saw.
even see. I don't even know offhand.
Yeah, if anybody knows,
I
think they're like 5 points. I think the over and under is real low, like 39 points, something like that.
That sounds about right. Yeah, I could see that. And a big key also, right, Mike, is Tyrone Tracy out of the backfield. I keep an eye on him. I think he's going to get a lot of, whether it's running the ball, a lot of touches, I believe.
You gotta.
Yeah.
That kid is a good player. That kid's a good
former
player.
receiver. And you saw last week the Steelers are susceptible to backs out of the backfield with Breece Hall getting 100 yards in receiving. Look at Tyrone Tracy out of the backfield getting a few passes this way. Maybe the screen game comes back like we saw a few weeks ago
25
in Seattle.
touches at least, right, guys?
Yeah, I'd like that.
You think 25 touches at least?
That's it. All right, Mike. I think that's a wrap. Anything else?
Nope. That's about it. Again, this coming Monday, you guys will start an hour earlier, right? Rush guys will start an hour earlier.
Yep, the Rush guys, whoever's on the show, it's going to be a 7:00 start because of the game, but Monday night game. So it's going to be a Monday night kind of preview of the game, kind of similar to what we're doing, but we're getting up close to kickoff. So whatever has happened, up to that point, anything new, they'll discuss. So yeah, check us out 7:00 and
right, and we'll be back next Wednesday, right? The 30th.
We're back normal show Wednesday. We'll preview the Washington game. Hopefully, it's a Giants win, and we're still somewhat relevant. If you can even say that at 3-5. But hey, crazy things happen on the road with the Giants, so we've seen.
And that's a totally different Washington team they're going to play again.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now,
absolutely.
totally different Daniels. a more improved Daniels, more
Yep.
confident Daniels.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Granizer, hey man, thanks for stopping in and have a great week as well. DraftKings Steelers -6.5. Okay.
Okay.
Total 36.5. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow.
it went up.
36.
Okay. Wow. That's not bad. 6.5. I would might take the I don't know. Yeah, tough one there. We'll have to see. 6.5. Wow. That's a lot. But then again, well, I said
Giants will
24-16.
score
Yeah,
touchdowns,
maybe.
so it's not that bad.
I'm like 8. Well, I said 8. I
On
said
the road.
24-16. Right. All right, everybody. JT, thanks for stopping in. You too, man. Have a good one. One thing, Cole put one question here. Let's get to that. Have we really had a home field advantage at MetLife? No, Cole, we've never. The only time we had a home field advantage at MetLife was the Super Bowl run in 2011 when the Giants beat the Falcons. That was a true home field, that game.
Yeah.
For sure. That was about it, man. But yeah, it comes and goes, right? Right, Cole? It's despicable, disgusting that they are 0-4 at home. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Oh, my God.
It's supposed to be
another
raining,
disappointment.
right? The forecasted Pittsburgh is supposed to be rain, right?
I didn't even know. I haven't looked. Okay.
Yeah. Someone said it in here. A little bit of rain.
Okay.
Chance of rain and 8 miles per hour. Chance of rain's okay.
Okay. So Najee Harris.
7 degrees.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. That's good football weather right there.
Yeah, and they play on real grass. So, that's good. And, real quick, I always keep saying this real quick. Everybody talks about MetLife. There's too many shows. You can't have grass. Well, guess what? Pittsburgh has the University of Pittsburgh that plays on grass. The Steelers play on grass. They have concerts there. And they replaced the field, I think, 3 times during the season. They replaced the sod. So you know what, Giants? You could change MetLife into grass and you could replace it 3 times, just like the Steelers do, and teams like the Eagles that have other events there. So that's my parting shot about the turf. Get the real grass, replace the turf 3 times.
Spend the money.
Yeah, it's colder in Pittsburgh than it is in Jersey.
It saves on injuries, doesn't it?
Well, I guess that's out for debate. I think so. Just give some more.
Too.
My feeling is, and we're getting off a whole nother topic, but when your foot gets stuck in turf, your cleat gets stuck. The turf doesn't rip up. When you're on grass, it breaks away. And that's my feeling on it. The grass breaks away. You're a golfer. You're always putting back divots, right, Mike?
Always, yeah.
All right, cool, man. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy the game. Go Giants. And we'll see you on the preview show on Monday, 7 p.m. So have a great rest of the week. Thanks, everybody.
See you, boys.